Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Business Paper Review with me, Kalu Aja. Glad to have you all here. Hope your week is going to be great. Let's get right with a few good stories here. We're just going to just touch on. Normally we do the economic review, but guys, trust me, nothing has changed. The only major change this week is inflation. So inflation figures came out. I believe that was Thursday or Friday. So the headline inflation in Nigeria right now, according to Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, is 20.52, right? 20.52. That's a big change. We have food inflation galloping to about 23.12%. What this means, pocket, right, is this. Any investment you're making in Nigeria, you have to, first of all, hit 20%, or just as 21%, just to maintain the value that you used to get into the investment. Before you talk about return, you have to make 21%. So if you look across in the Nigerian investment picture, there is no return in Nigeria today that is so we say regulated and formalized that's going to give you 21% return in 12 months. There's none. There's no fixed income. There's no property. Even holding dollar just retains your value, doesn't give you a return. I'm talking about regulated investments, not come and invest here, bring two people and I give you 10% a month. No, regulated. So this is going to be a big disincentive to investing. If you're a pensioner, you're in big trouble. And like I said, the way you want to avoid inflation in Nigeria is not to hold naira. So that means if you earn naira, you want to buy things that you're going to buy all over and all again. If you pay rent, try to pay rent in advance, lock in that difference. You don't get money back, but you avoid holding naira. So if you don't hold naira, the inflation really doesn't work on you, right? Try to get assets because assets rise in value. Literally, guys, if you go buy rice in the market and you store that rice in your house, and you sell that bag of rice, it's better than putting money in the bank because the way inflation is going, if you go back a year ago, this is 20.52 year on year. So that means last year, the price of that rice minimum was less 20%. That's crazy. If like this might be 100%. So that's the key thing that changed throughout last week. Although we did see some good news, right? We have the punch. The headline saying Nigeria, Morocco begin 5,600-kilometer gas pipeline project. So some background, right? So Nigeria has a lot of gas. If you look at the north of Africa, you've got Morocco, you've got Algeria. Algeria has a lot of gas as well. Morocco is pushing to get a pipeline from Nigeria all the way around the West African coast, hits Porto, right? Algeria is also looking for that pipeline that would go from Nigeria all the way to Algiers, then it will hit Europe. I think the Moroccan pipeline, because it goes right around and it's in the water, it's a bit safer. I mean, safer from being blown up, safer from militants, bandits, Boko Haram, and all that. So I think it's a bit safer. And also the way they want to run it is that any country on the West African coast can sell gas to the pipeline. Then the pipeline delivers gas to Europe, and then you get paid on a pro rata basis. So Nigeria is a massive gas exporter. So this is a very, very, very key project. They are calling it an agreement. It's just an MOU. It doesn't mean anything. It's just an MOU to say they want to build it. I think now with what's happening in Russia, this project might be important to the EU now to see if they can build this pipeline and get gas out of Nigeria to Europe. So fingers crossed, if they can do this, this will change. This will really change Nigeria. I personally would have thought Nigeria would do this alone, borrow money and build this. Which is kind of project you borrow money for. Borrow $100 billion and build this. Then you collect your payments in Naira from West Africa and from anybody else. So, I mean, you've locked in your inflation right there. So whatever you print, those countries have to buy because they have to buy gas from Nigeria. And you sort yourself out, you know. I thought it would go alone, but it looks like they're going to build a pipeline. I know a company is doing the feasibility. If they give a go ahead, Nigeria will then build a pipeline from Nigeria to connect to this pipeline, which then takes the gas to Europe. So good one there. We're thinking the right direction. I like it. Let's just hope it works, right? got this other headline here. This is not a good one. It's from Punch. Well, it's ICPC, that's the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, uncovers 400 billion fraud in 2021 and 2022 budgets. Guys, I hear what you're saying. You're saying, what's the news here? There's no news. I agree with you. I mean, it's just that it keeps on happening. It's not just, this is not like some complicated fraud. This is just duplication. If you pick the Nigerian budget, right? Pick any year, just pick any year. You're going to find kitchen utensils. You're going to find security equipment. You're going to find library, periodicals. There are some things that just repeat themselves year in, year out. Year in, year out. The president's going to eat. The president's going to buy a new medical center. They're going to buy new security gadgets year in, year out. It just tells you that we just dust up the budget, change the figures, and submit as a budget. There's no zero budgeting. There's no envelope budgeting. It's not need-based. It's just to fulfill righteousness, just to get money out. So there really is no story there. I think the story is just to say we're a bit disappointed that this is still going on, even in 2023. So yeah, I don't like it, right? Okay, but this might be a good one. This is from the Cable. It says Nigeria has signed a 23 million euro agreement with France to boost electricity supply. This is kind of good. So essentially, France is going to invest, or should we say the French Development Agency, called the AFD, is going to invest in the Northern Corridor Transmission Project. So they want to basically invest in transmission. I think that's where the weak link is. We have the GENCOs, we have the DISCOs, but the guys that does the TC and the Transmission Company of Nigeria is still federally owned, not doing a good job, right? These were the guys that were supposed to go on strike, that the unions were to go on strike a few weeks ago. So they need all the help they can get. So if this is going to be positive for them, hooray, let them go get it. That's going to be good for them. All right, guys, let's pick the story up I saw today. It's from The Sun, and it's basically talking about the RT200 policy. Now, if you just give you some background, this is from The Sun. Yeah, Sun is saying the RT policy document from the central bank. So the central bank is saying that their policy, this RT200, is attracting more export commodities. In fact, they are seeing this as a success, right? So what's going on with this RT200? So look at what CBN does. The CBN governor is a politician. He's not a governor, no. He's a politician. So he doesn't want to devalue. He doesn't want to raise interest rates. He's trying to play that line that he won't annoy his party, the APC, but he wants to also do his job, which is to maintain, the monetary policy and exchange rate of the federation. So what he does is this: if the federal government, or if he sets the exchange rate right now, we're about 435. That's the official rate, the NAFEX rate, 435. He then goes and says, if you sell us dollars, if you bring back dollars into Nigeria, we'll give you an extra 65 naira. So if you sell, for like I put an example up on Twitter, if you sell $10,000 worth of, say, cashew, and you give it to CBN, you remit those funds through the CBN. CBN is going to pay you the 435 plus the 65 naira. So essentially, you get 500 naira if you exchange. The problem is this: the black market is going to pay you 700 naira plus. So nobody, unless the people that cannot run away from the CBN, is going to remit money to the central bank. That's why the central bank has no money. They only have 38 billion. But you hear exports going out every day, because you export and you don't remit, because it doesn't make any sense. This is the thing about the valuation we're talking about. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, we brought an export guy to the spaces, and he said Nigeria exported a lot of cashew. Cashew is not the largest export from Nigeria. He explained that we're exporting a lot of cashew because Nigeria devalued her currency. The other cashew exporters in West Africa did not. So our cashew is very, very cheap in terms of, if you bring a dollar to Nigeria, you get more cashew than if you take a dollar to, say, Equatorial Guinea or the other African cashew exporters. This is the thing about devaluation. You are promoting export because the foreigners would come to Nigeria because they can buy cashew, the same cashew, right, it's a commodity, at a cheaper price. So what the CBN is doing is they are devaluing the naira administratively from 435 to 500. So the value, if you export and you bring your currency back, you don't get 435, you get 500. It would make, they could be the exchange rate in the black market, or say about maybe 510. Nobody will waste his time. People just come, straight to the central bank. But the gap is too wide. It's 700, and I'm just being charitable by saying 700. It's about 710 or 705 and all that. So until they fix that gap, that difference between the black market and the central bank exchange rate, nothing's going to happen. No one is going to remit money to Nigeria at 500 naira. They won't be able to remit half, and they will tell CBN I'm going to remit the other half. Then there's a standing CBN that your forex, and they actually give times and they actually give penalties, but nobody's going to do it. No one. I mean, people are in business to make money, and this is the problem with having a strong naira. You are encouraging imports, not encouraging exports. So that's that story there for the RT 200, right? So let's talk about this good story here. How this good, I don't know if it's a good one or if it's just a wait and see story. It's from the Punch. Is the red line to begin operations first quarter 2023. So the red line is the Lagos State's should we say light rail. That's what's going to really transform Lagos. And Lagos is saying that the 37-kilometer red line is supposed to go from Agbado in Ogun State all the way to Marina in Lagos. Just imagine all the guys from Momowe, no more Third Mainland Bridge, just get on this light rail and you are in Marina. It's just wonderful if this happens. But they are saying the first phase, just Agbado to Oyingbo, that's near Yaba. That's what's going to be operational by Q1 2023. I mean, I'll take it. This thing has dragged, you know. I remember when this project was announced, it was announced time the federal government announced their Kaduna to Abuja rail, which was the first standard gauge rail in West Africa, and I think in sub-Saharan Africa, the one from Kaduna to Abuja, standard rail. And I always thought Lagos was, you know, a bit leaner. They were better managers of resources than the federal government. That they would get this done well before the federal government, because Lagos State's bond rating is the same as the federal government of Nigeria. So only that the Lagos State cannot borrow externally on their own. No state can borrow externally. You have to go through the federal government. So Lagos State had to go through the federal government. But apart from that, they have the same bond rating. And the federal government did their Kaduna rail. Lagos State started to just, it took too much time. I know there's politics involved. I get it. The government then sort of slow walked Lagos. But really, this was during Fashola's time. You know, we've gone Fashola 2 terms. We've done the other guy, Ambode, I think. Then we're doing Sanyo, and still, this thing is not yet done. So hopefully, this is going to get done. Even if phase one is going to be a big boost. But you won't have to Oyingbo. You park and ride in Oyingbo too. So you can park your car in Oyingbo and then go all the way. So it's going to change, but I think it'll be a long time before we actually get that habit of park and ride and go on the train to Marina. But when it happens, guys, Lagos is going to be, what you see now is going to be like minus 10, because then their revenues are going to go up big time. And of course, ease of doing business in Lagos will improve drastically. So I'm rooting for that rail to commence. I think we need it big time. All right, guys, I just set you up with that good story. So we're going to the really funny story. This is from going to be two stories together at one. So OPEC releases their what they call their monthly report every month. So OPEC's monthly report is out in terms of they talk about the exports, imports, and operations of all their member states. So they are saying that Nigeria, as at August 2022, our output has crashed to 900,000 barrels per day. That's a big one, guys. I mean, it was a million they had in June, July. Now in August, it's 900,000. And of course, the rig count, they also measured the rig count. They said we had about 16 rigs same time last year. Now we only have 10. So that just tells you what's going on. There's a lot of the supply has left the market. Lots of folks have basically left as well, which you can see in the rig counts. The rigs are going down. The output is going down, and we all know why the output is going down. It's not because of the rigs per se. It's because of the stealing, right? There's so much stealing of the Nigerian crude from the pipelines onshore that it's not profitable to sell or to onshore. You have to be offshore. So we're losing, the NNPC guys said we are losing about 400,000 barrels a day. That's locked in and not flowing. You know, we've seen many entrepreneurs like Tunelumelu say, listen, he lost 95% of what was pumped onshore. So I mean, and then was like Pengerson says the same thing. 90% is lost when you pump. So this 900,000 just shows that no one is pumping. There's no point pumping, right? Because if you do it, it's going to get stolen. So 900,000, really, really, that's crazy, really, they're crazy. And but this is one that actually struck up my. Let's go. The OPEC is then saying that, but even though supply has reduced in Nigeria, the prices internationally for crude oil has gone up. This time last year, the price of crude oil was 667. Remember, Nigeria sells the light burning crude. So the price for our light burning crude was about 67 per barrel this time last year. Now it's 110. That was in August, remember, in August, 110 per barrel. So the revenues Nigeria is making because of the increase in price, we're sort of covering up for that loss of production by the price. So covering up. The question now is, where is the excess crude account? It's almost empty. So if price has gone from 67 to 110, the excess I think excess crude is about 45 or 55. The excess goes to the excess crude account. That account is largely empty. So where is that money? Where's that money? Where did that money go to? Who is spending that money? What are we using it for? I hope we're not using it for to pay quote unquote poor people, because that's the way they go now. I'm going to pay 5,000 to poor people, then it comes to 25 billion. I'm going to tell you that's a question to ask. Where is the excess crude revenues going to? And that story allows us to dovetail into our final story. And this is from the NNPC Limited. They are saying that they're securing the pipelines. The pipelines that are being stolen, they're securing it from January to June 2022. They paid 12.43 billion. Let me repeat that figure, guys. 12.43 billion is what they paid to the ex-militants and other contractors to secure the pipelines. And if you look at the breakdown, it just doesn't make that much to me. The figures are the same. The figures keep on changing. I mean, if you're paying someone to guard a pipeline, why should the figure change? This is just, I really don't get why should the figure change. Let me pull up the exact figures. I'll give you guys from January all the way to June, right? Just so maybe you guys can show me what I'm missing here per se. January 1.1 billion, that's January. Then February 368 billion, March 2.6 billion, April 464 million, May 498 million, then June 8.3 billion. What happened in June? 8 billion in June. May was 498. Well, I mean, so what did they steal more or did they protect more in June? The problem is that we don't have this figure for, say, August, September to have an idea of if this contract is actually working. But if we are paying from 498 million to 8 billion, this is from May to June, I hope we are saving the oil that is the same oil is being stolen, is being saved. So the way we know these militants are working is if output from Nigeria goes up. OPEC has said us at August we're at 900,000 barrels a day. Let's leave this, let's come back to this conversation saying October 2022 and take a peek at what the output would be. That's the only time you can tell if this is actually a contract or just a bribe. This could just be a bribe someone is taking. Maybe the militants are getting maybe 10% or 20% of this. Because why are you paying them 8 billion in June? But OPEC is saying that in August, your production dropped to 900,000 a day. So the payments to them increased and our production dropped. Doesn't make any sense to me, guys, but hey, I'm just a guy on Twitter. All right, guys, we are at the end of our short review of the business papers. I don't see anyone indicating a question, so we're going to shut it down, guys. Wish you guys the very, very best in your week. Go out there, make that killing, make that money. See you guys. Take care.